And welcome to pmclounge.com. Today we are looking into the outputs of the define activities process. Now we have already covered this process, the define activities process, and I'll share the link to the entire playlist of the schedule management knowledge area, which was earlier known as time management knowledge area. So all the videos that we have done on schedule management knowledge area, the entire playlist will be available in the description. We have discussed one of the processes there. We have discussed all of them, but one of the processes is the define activities process. And activity list, activity attributes, and milestone list, the three words that you see on your screen right now, these are the outputs of the define activities process. Now, if you already know us, if you already know how pmclounge.com operates, how our YouTube channel operates, what our articles are about, you already know that we don't really discuss the inputs, the tools and techniques, the outputs, but we basically discuss individual topics related to all the processes of PMP. And these individual topics are definitely going to help you with your PMP exam. So we are discussing the outputs of the define activities process here because activity list, activity attributes, and milestone list as individual topics are also important from the PMP exam perspective, right? So if you want to learn all the processes in the PGK mapping and all the inputs and outputs, PMC Lounge is not the place to be. But if you want to dive deep into the understanding of project management, into clearing PMP the way it is supposed to be clear, not because you have certain photographic memory and you can read and learn a lot of stuff without even understanding. That's not how we operate. But if you are uh, passionate about project management, if you want to clear PMP the way it is supposed to be, definitely this video and all other videos are going to be of help. So let's look into activity list to begin with. So activity list is basically a list, right, as the name goes, of everything that needs to be done to complete the project. So what all do you need to do to complete the project? And now you may think, isn't this something that is similar to the WBS or work breakdown structure? By the way, we have covered work breakdown structure as well in quite a detail, and I'll share the link to the entire playlist of WBS in the description below if you want a refresher of, or if you don't know much about WBS already. So you can check that link out, check that playlist out, learn a thing or two about WBS and come back here. So yes, this is similar to WBS because this is actually one level below the work packages in your standard WBS. So your WBS will have certain work packages, right? The work breakdown structure of your project will have certain work packages that you need to deliver as part of the project. An activity list is actually a level below the work packages, right? So what this basically means is each work package will have a list of activities that needs to be done in order to accomplish that work package. It'll be much more clearer in the next slide when I show you the image that we have put together. So there you have it. The first level is the work, the actual scope of work of your project, right? This is the first level. This work is divided into work packages. There are several work packages or deliverables, right? Deliverables could be anything related to your project. So your scope of work will basically mean there are a lot of deliverables that you need to deliver as part of working on the project, as part of completing the project. This is done in the create WBS process. This is where you kind of identify what the work packages or the deliverables of the project should be. And below that, in the define activities processes, in the define activities process is where you come up with the list of activities. So list of activities is the output of the define activities process, and you get all the activities which should be done to deliver certain all the work packages, not certain, all the work packages, right? So for each work package, there is going to be a list of activities that you need to do to attain and accomplish that work package. Similarly, for every single work package, you will have a list of activities that you will do, and That is the output list of activities is all about. Moving on, activity attributes. Now, activity attributes is to activity list what WBS dictionary is to the WBS. So what does WBS dictionary do? It basically has data and information about the work packages in the WBS. That is what WBS dictionary is all about. So activity attributes, which is also an output of the define activities process, will contain information about the activities. What kind of information? So each activity is defined and detailed in the corresponding activity attribute entry. So every activity is going to have a corresponding entry in the activity attribute, and all the information, all the details will be defined in that entry. Now, what kind of information, if you ask? So what are the resources that need to be used? What are the time requirements, right? So what are the resources to be used? What are the time requirements for an activity? You can talk about scheduling information, like what are the successor activities of a certain activity, or what are the predecessor activities of an activity, right? So if you want to do activity C, it is important that activity A and B are done. This kind of information is available in the activity attributes, right? And constraints should all be listed in the activity attribute. So there could be certain constraints with an activity, right? Let's say constraint of having more resources, or let's say constraint of having certain technical knowledge before a certain activity can be performed. So every single detail related to a certain activity, to every activity, is listed in the activity attributes. I think the first sentence basically hits the nail on the head. If you know what WBS dictionary is, you will find it very easy to understand what activity attributes is. Like I said earlier, we have discussed WBS in detail. We have also discussed WBS dictionary. You can check the link in the description below. The entire playlist is available. Check that out, and you will have the knowledge that you need when it comes to WBS and WBS dictionary. Finally, the third output of define activities process is the milestone list. And milestone, as you're aware, you must already be aware, milestones are nothing but important checkpoints in your project. Code completion is a milestone, right? Testing completion is a milestone. Requirements, freezing the requirements or baselining the requirements, that is also a milestone. So these are nothing but important checkpoints in your project. And these are also linked to payment terms in certain projects, right? So let's say you have hired an external team to perform coding in your project. When do you pay them? So that can be linked to a certain milestone. Here's a question for you. When do you pay an external coding team that you have hired in your project? Should you pay them when you complete your coding, or should you pay them when you complete the testing, the testing of that specific code? Of course, the answer here is going to be when you complete the testing of that code, not when they complete the coding. So they may complete the coding, they give you a piece of code and you pay them. And when you go ahead and test the piece of code, you find all these bugs, but you have nobody to fix those bugs because you have already paid the coding, the external team that was doing the coding, right? So uh, the payment terms can also be related to these milestones, and that is why it is important to have a list of milestones as part of your project. One other important point to note here is that a milestone is a 0-day activity. What does this mean is milestone in itself is not consuming any project time. When you say today is code completion, that means today is the point in project where code will be complete. You will never have a milestone that says, okay, my code will be complete in the week of 26. That means from 26 to 31, we will be completing the code. No, that is not how you define milestones. That is an activity, that is a total phase of a project, a total activity that you need to do, or a total process that you're following, right? It is not a point in your project. It is consuming time period. So milestone never consume time period. That is something that you should know. Milestone is only a point in the project, and it is a 0 day activity. Your code completion day, the end date of your code completion, the ETA for your code completion, that ETA, the last date, is going to be the milestone of code completion, not the entire duration of from your code start date to your code end date. I hope that was clear. So that's all that we had in this video. If you are into reading, if you want to read all this, then definitely go over to pmclounge.com. Check out the PMP full course section where articles are available for all the knowledge areas. Do subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and hit the bell icon to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, if you learned something new. A lot of people ask us what books they should buy. You can check the link out, pmclounge.com/pmp-preparation-resources. All our favorite books for PMP preparation are listed there. Don't forget to check out the website pmclounge.com, your number one free resource for PMP and other project management certifications, as well as project management industry information. And don't forget to hit us on our social media. PMC Lounge is our handle on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Thank you.